You know how some days on the bike are really, really good and some are just really, really bad? Well, I just want to put out a reminder that just how bad things can be some days. So on Wednesday I went over to Glebe to have another look at the protected cycleway there and had some interesting encounters along the way. Let's just run through them as a reminder to stay safe out there. Now this is possibly why everything went so pear-shaped. I went over to Lilyfield Road and then up Gordon Street just to have a look around the side streets to see how the detours had been set up, etc. And when I was coming back towards Gordon Street from one of the side streets, what crossed my path? A black cat. Yes. Gotta be careful of them black cats, as you'll see in a sec. This is the corner of Quirk Street and Gordon Street in Rozelle, and just notice this big van parked right here on the corner. Now I went up Quirk Street and then I had a look down the end, and don't go down there, it's all blocked off by WestConnex. Came back, turned right up Gordon Street to go up and have a look at the intersection with Victoria Road, and then came back down the hill and the van was still there. And this just illustrates the risk presented by parked vehicles on the side of the road and how they block your sight lines really badly. Just watch this. Jesus. Now some people watching this might be thinking, oh, what's the problem with that? Well, two problems. The first is that ute driver just pulled out without looking up to their right at all. They had the window down, they had their arm poking out the window, and I could see their head quite clearly, and it never turned and looked towards me. So they just assumed no one was going to be coming down the hill. Then the motorbike rider just pulled out because the ute pulled out. They didn't bother looking either. And the camera just doesn't show how close this is because of the wide angle view, etc. It kind of distorts the distances a bit. But you know, it was certainly close enough that I had to grab on the brakes to avoid a collision here. And it was just the whole thing of, if I'd been going faster, that would have ended in a collision because neither of these people coming out of the side street looked. And it would have been really difficult for them to look because the parked vehicle completely blocked their sight lines up the road. And as you can see, they only popped out kind of at the last second, so I didn't have a heck of a lot of warning this was happening. Then we get back onto Lilyfield Road, and this one demonstrates quite nicely why white paint is completely useless and why we prefer protected cycleways, preferably with a nice strip of tall concrete curb protecting us from the passing vehicles. So this white vehicle goes past and they just drift straight into the cycle lane, and in fact I was watching them, and it's a little bit hard to see in the video, but they drove for several hundred meters with their vehicle halfway into the cycle lane or almost fully in the cycle lane. I don't know what they were doing. They might have been looking at a text or something on their phone and they just drifted over to the left, but for whatever reason they were so thoroughly in the cycle lane it wasn't funny. And thank goodness when I looked in the rear view image when I got home, when they were coming up behind me, they managed to stay in the vehicle lane because there's nothing, you can't see behind you. It's nothing scarier than having a vehicle come up behind you and clock you from behind. So this is a really strong reason why protected cycleways really are a great thing to have, because it stops this ridiculous distracted behaviour by drivers, which is incredibly dangerous. If they'd run into me from behind at 50 kilometres an hour or faster, my chances of survival would be very low. There's not much we can do about this except continue to campaign for properly separated cycleways. And this last one is an absolute classic case of I'm going to sit behind you for about 40 seconds, not overtaking where I could, and then at the last moment I'm going to overtake and turn left right across in front of you. And this happened, I think, down at Catherine Street. So again, we're on the Lilyfield Road heading back towards Five Dock, and there's this Commodore coming up behind us, and you can see how slowly they're making gains. I mean, they're only doing a few kilometres an hour faster than me. They've got all the time in the world to overtake. It's not like I'm doing 50 kilometres an hour. They're doing well under the speed limit along here, as am I. I'm probably doing 20, 25 along here. And then as we come up to the intersection, what do? They suddenly decide, whoops, I need to get in front and I need to turn left. I mean, why? Why? Anyway, stay safe out there, people.